Hello, this is Paul Chek. Welcome back to my video blog. Today I thought I would throw you a curveball, do something a little different. One of my favorite things that I love to eat, that I have to be careful with because I too have to be on an antifungal diet because I had a bad fungal infection when I was young and it took me till I was 36 to figure out what it was. So, you know, I have to be limited in my treats, but popcorn's one of the ones I can get away with now and then, and I love it. It's disappointing though. It's hard to find good popcorn. You go to the movie, garbage. Usually GMO popcorn tastes like puffed styrofoam. And then even with good popcorn, there's a few tricks I want to share. So if you like popcorn, I want to share my little recipe with you because I love to experiment with these things. So here's what I figured out. One, you need a big pot. My recipe makes about 2 salad bowls of popcorn, so you can adjust according to experimentation based on what you need. I love using a Salad Master pot because Salad Master's cookware is badass. It doesn't leach, has even temperature distribution, high quality surgical steel. Love it. You can learn more about Salad Master cookware if you go to the C.H.E.K Institute website. I prefer flame cooking myself. I don't particularly like working with electronic stoves. They kind of seem odd to me. I'm not a great chef or anything, but when I do work with herbal medicines and things like that, I find flame much more friendly to the control function. So you want to get the whatever stove you got, but if you can use flame for making your popcorn, I think it'll be better. So what do? We get a big pot. Now you want to cover the bottom of the pot with enough popcorn that it covers the whole bottom of the pot, maybe just a little bit more. If you put too much in, it'll blow the lid off and make a bit of a mess in the kitchen. If you don't put enough in, you just don't get as much popcorn as you want. But for the recipe I'm giving you here, you want to cover the bottom of the whole pot, maybe a little bit extra. That'll make you a couple of bowls. Then you're going to take a stick of the best quality organic butter you can get your paws on. If I was you, I'd drive out to a local small dairy farm and get the real deal, because the better the butter, the better the popcorn. So a whole stick. Then I put a tablespoon of organic ghee in there with the butter. I found that the ghee stabilizes the butter, allowing you to cook the butter at higher heat, which is essential, I found, to getting that amazing crispiness in the popcorn. If you want that popcorn to just be like amazingly crispy, then you need the ghee in there to get it to a high enough heat so the butter doesn't burn and disintegrate too quickly. So 1 stick of butter, tablespoon. Then I take my favorite sea salt. I rotate salts. I got a whole bunch of them. Take a good Celtic sea salt. The finer the grind, the better for this. And guesstimate. It usually takes me for this much 4 to 5 pinches of salt distributed all over. So you're putting it right on top of the popcorn, the butter, and the ghee. You can start the flame right off the bat. Once that butter's melted, distribute your salt in there. Now, have your peppers all the way chopped if you want to do the spicy version. So what I do is I chop up with a little hand chopper some jalapenos or habaneros or chilies, whatever I've got on hand, but I like it pretty spicy. And I throw those in there, and I mix all that popcorn, salt, butter, and ghee up. And I just let that cook in its own juices. Throw the lid on. By now you've probably about 4 minutes into it if you got your popcorn, your chilies all chopped and all that. You throw it all in. You want the flame to be higher, medium to high, but not super high. It's going to take a few minutes for it to start popping because you got all these peppers and salt and butter in there, so it has a different effect. If it was just straight popcorn and oil, for example, it would pop a lot quicker. So wait till it goes. You're going to let it pop till it's all popped, till you don't hear any more popping. Shake the pan regularly. You might get butter coming up out of the lid. That's okay. Just pick the lid up gently, tip it so the butter pours back in. Don't lift it up very high or popcorn will pop out on you. Let it all pop down. When it stops popping, leave the flame on, and it's going to start burning. Now this you can control. I like burnt edges on my popcorn. I love that flavor. I love the peppers to get a little burnt too. So you don't ruin the popcorn or totally kill the butter though. Once you hear the popcorn stop popping, take a great big like metal scoop spoon, like for you pulling a soup out or something. Take the lid off, remember the heat's still on for a couple minutes, and start stirring the popcorn with the big spoon. Sometimes I drop a few more chunks of butter, maybe a half a stick more butter in there in chunks, and I stir it up and it starts melting in, and I test it right there to see if it's salty enough. If it needs more salt, I add a little salt right there, but keep stirring that and then let it sit for a couple of minutes and throw the lid back on it. By now you want to turn the heat off though. After you do it stirring this for about 2 minutes or even 1 minute, if you start smelling the butter burning up and you see smoke coming up, shut it off right away. And then just keep stirring that popcorn. Give it a rest for 2 minutes just off the heat of the pot. That'll give it a little more burn. Then scoop it around, stir it, turn it upside down like you're rolling it. Do that a couple of times till you've got as much burn as you want. Then go ahead and pour it into your salad bowls, your big glass bowls, and let it cool. As it cools, the butter starts to set up and the popcorn gets nice and crispy. Man, I'm telling you, it's amazing. You get little bits of burnt pepper in there and pepper that isn't burnt, and the pepper juice gets mixed in with the butter and the salt, and I'll tell you what, it's right up there with sex, in my opinion. Not quite, but it's up there. So there you go. Big pot, stick of butter, tablespoon of ghee, sea salt, chopped up peppers to your liking. Put the lid on, medium to high temperature, just high enough to make it rock and roll but not kill the butter. Once it's all popped out, stir it up. Put the lid back on, stir it again. When you start feeling that butter getting too burnt, shut the stove off. Stir it again, put the lid back on. A couple minutes later, stir it again, put the lid back on. Take it off, pour it in your bowl. Wait a few seconds. If you needed to adjust salt, add a little more salt. If you need a little butter, you could have done that earlier in the pot, but you can always adjust it on the fly. But once it cools down, presto, magic. Make sure you write me an email or, a comment here on the video after you try it. Tell me what you think. It should be magic. If not, try again. Talk to you next time.